Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Duprey.
Hello, welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Duprey, along with my co-host this week, Sindye Alexander, back for week 3. How you doing, Sindye?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me back, Brian.
Good to you know what I'm excited about? This is episode 200 of the Childcare Genius Podcast.
Oh my gosh, I'm on Lucky 200.
Lucky 200. And
That's
you know what's really cool is this is actually episode 218 because we recorded 18 episodes of a different podcast before we switched to this one. So this is officially 200 of the Childcare Genius Podcast. We're excited to hit that milestone. There's only a couple other podcasts I know of in the childcare world that have hit the 200 mark. And we're excited to get to that level, and I'm glad you got to celebrate it with me, hitting that benchmark. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about communication and improving the workplace culture through communication. And also we're going to talk about conflict resolution, which conflicts cause major culture problems. So we're going to talk a little bit about those things this week as we wrap up our 3-part series on culture building. So Sindye, you're an expert in culture. You wrote a book on it. You're really good at this. And that's why I wanted to bring you on today. And before everybody asks, well, where's Carol? Carol's just taking a break for a couple of weeks. She'll be back next week. But it's a lot easier to have a co-host, not two co-hosts. It's a lot easier with just one co-host. So she's taking a break this week, a well-deserved break, and she'll be back next week. So how can you create an environment where staff feel safe to share concerns or ideas? Like if staff don't bring up things that are bothering them, that can fester and make a culture poor, can it?
Yeah, I think staff really need to be supported and valued by their leaders, especially in this type of industry where emotions are involved in the work, right? I've said that on the past couple episodes. This is not an emotion-free zone. It's not like you check it at the door. You feel you develop bonds with the people that you work with, the people that you care for, and so. Creating an environment where people feel like they can come to their leaders when there is an issue is so important. And really, you have to demonstrate that with more than words. Okay, that 80s song, it just popped in my head. More than words, it let your actions speak louder than words. So you not only say that you value open and honest communication, but you have to provide a way for that to happen. You have to demonstrate that. If somebody comes to you with a problem and you're always either dismissing them or jumping to a conclusion before they even get their point across, or you act like they're an inconvenience to you when they pop on your door and you're like, yeah, tell me whatever, and you continue typing and you don't act like they're even a person, that sends a message that you don't value them, that you don't care about what they think, that either money is more important or your time is more important than theirs. And people will be less reluctant to share issues with you, and that is really super valuable. If your staff member comes to you and tells you that there's an issue with a family or an issue with something that's a licensing violation, that can really save your bacon later. You want them to come and tell you about problems so you can improve, right? So you have to hold that space and you have to demonstrate it through your actions. You could have, a system for anonymous suggestions as well, if somebody is timid about that. But you really have to kind of create that environment and have your leaders who are representing you, if you're not on site every day, they have to represent that as well, or they have to exude that the staff is important to them. Because if they don't feel valued, they don't feel like they can approach you with an issue, you're going to have bigger problems later.
Yeah, let's talk about that suggestion box. So this is something we did. We used to have a suggestion box at our school, and it really wasn't that good. We found out that somebody was afraid to put a suggestion in the box because they thought the camera would see them putting in there. They didn't want their peers to see them putting suggestions in. Like they didn't want to get them back to them. So it gave us a great idea. So what we've done for the last few years is our suggestion box is actually in the restroom. So, the only place you're going to go, we have total privacy, no cameras, and it's nailed, it's screwed into the back of the door, and they could leave a comment in the bathroom in there, and we get some great comments in there. They're all anonymous, obviously, and that way that we can see things before things that are broken before we know they're broken, and if they know that they can be candid. It help your workplace culture. So that's just an idea that we've done for the last few years personally, and we found out that worked good.
I'd like to respond to that. I really, really love the idea of having that anonymous place. Because if somebody is really, really timid, but they want to share something, you need to, respect their emotional, comfort and still make communication a priority by providing that space for them to be anonymous. But really, I think that suggestion box in most cases would be the last resort, because it is very much more important that you're having regular communication with your team. And like as an owner, if you own multiple schools, you're not going to have regular communication with everybody on your team, but each school should have a director. And maybe those directors have an assistant director. There's some kind of a chain of command, and there is a leader that meets with every person on the team at some point, at least monthly, is what I would say. So that way there is like a carved out, set in stone time for each person to speak with their leader. And if there are issues that need to go higher up the chain, it can get escalated. But you stay involved with the heartbeat of your school when you are intentionally calendaring, because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't happen. Okay, when you're intentionally calendaring and prioritizing that time, that one-on-one time, and it doesn't have to be, an hour meeting. It can be a 10-minute meeting, a 15-minute meeting, but a purposeful time where you can check in with people, see how they're feeling about stuff, see if there's any issues, if they have ideas for improvement, if they have any goals they want to set. So have that one-on-one time. But in addition to that, the location director or the assistant director on each site should be checking in with each teacher daily, just like, how's everything going today? And so nothing should be a surprise. Nothing should be, if your communication is dialed in and, and your culture is on the positive end. Okay. So, but if there is somebody who is really timid or really afraid about something, that suggestion box catches that. So anyway, you need multiple ways. It takes a while
sometimes with new people for them to get that trust factor that they could trust the director.
I love the bathroom idea, though.
So that's where the one-on-one comes in, is to help establish that trust too, as well. So you have both things. So what are some signs that your team might not feel heard for you or respected, Sindye?
Ooh, I think a lot of gossip, a lot of whispering. Some cliquish type behavior where there's kind of like an us against them, because there's obviously some conflicts in the air that they don't want to involve you in because you're not a safe person to talk to. I think reluctance.
Let's stay on that topic. So gossip,
okay,
because that is a huge thing. How do we take steps to reduce gossip and toxic behavior? Now that you brought up gossip, I'm like, that is probably one of the biggest culture crushers, I think, is gossiping around a school and toxic behavior. So how do we crush that before it happens or when it happens?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I think it is a tendency for every person, me and you included. We all want to know the scuttlebutt. We want to know what's going on. And sometimes we don't realize that what we're about to hear is gossip. Until we've heard it. And so we all have to kind of be trained to know what to look for, because sometimes it can just feel like a conversation or somebody sharing, and you feel honored that they're going to share this feeling with you and you're helping them through something. And so we kind of have to help them realize that once they start hearing, negative talk about other people, or they're talking about a problem that they're not a part of the solution for, that's gossip, and that we need to kind of call each other, give each other permission to call each other out on it. Because like I might be hearing you talk about Carol, for instance. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. She doesn't like it when I bring her eggs for breakfast or whatever. Can you believe it? I've gone out of my way for all of these years to do the breakfast, and that's not what she wants. And she thinks she could at least appreciate me, right? So like you're hearing this, right? And you might not realize you're doing it. You might not realize how it's coming across. And when somebody else has that permission to call you out on that and say, "Oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, but wasn't she just expressing her feelings to you? Maybe we should stop talking about this. Maybe you should go talk directly to the person." So I think directing them to go either talk directly to the person or go talk directly to the manager, the director, whoever is in charge of whatever the conflict is, I think will really help, because the less time we spend talking about our opinions on this thing before we get the person involved who can bring a solution to the issue, or who can, share their side of the story, I think that can help to reduce that gossip. But we have to learn what it is. We have to learn how to recognize it, and we have to give every person the green light to call each other out on it, including ourselves, because sometimes we're not perfect either. Sometimes we get involved in emotions too. So have that safety to call each other out on gossip.
What's funny is I thought it was just a lady thing on the gossip until I worked for a construction company. It was all guys. They are worse than a bunch of ladies in a childcare center, which most childcare centers are ladies, so I'm not being sexist. And you have the gossip environment. So I thought it was just that. Then at construction company, the guys were far worse than the ladies. You get a bunch of guys together, they're gossiping just as much. I think there's less gossip if there's guys and women together, because they're a little bit more reserved. Here I am.
That's kind of interesting, because
conversation.
I'm thinking about a couple guys I know that work for the same company, as automotive company, and I hear some things sometimes at home.
But definitely not a certain gender. Everybody's an equal opportunity gossiper. So, in closing, Sindye, how often should leaders check in with their staff to make sure that things are okay and things are not off?
I think I touched on that a little bit. I think definitely there should be some kind of a daily check-in just for surface level stuff. Like, what's going on? Oh, you need me to take the snack dishes, or, you need an extra sippy cup, yeah, I'll run to the kitchen. I'll grab that for you. How's it going? Like, what do you need right now in this moment? Can I help? Can I support? Are you good? So that type of stuff. Probably, weekly for a little bit of a bigger picture thing. Oh yeah, Timmy's mom was upset that, his shorts got dirty from whatever playground activity, and she wants us to be more careful with blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So like something that's like a little bit of a bigger issue. And then at least monthly for that one-on-one alone time. So there should be some constant communication going on daily, weekly, monthly. But I think it is important that you do have like a set aside meeting, a little 15 minutes a month with each person. Now, again, you can delegate that to your director, your assistant director, department head, whatever your hierarchy is. But each person on the team should be meeting with a leader at least monthly. And then those leaders should be checking in, on the fly, and then, on a weekly. And when I say on the weekly, it's like you might be passing each other in the hallway, or you're both in the break room, but you have a checklist or a mental checklist, because you're the leader. Okay, I touched in with Robin today. I touched in with Ashley today. I touched in with Joanne yesterday. You know what I mean? And so you kind of keep track of who you're talking to, and just making sure you have a heartbeat of what's going on in the school, and that you are approachable, and you are inviting them to share with you anything that is concerning to them.
Love that. That's a good segue to end the conversation here. But wow, a lot of good nuggets in the last 3 weeks. We've covered a lot of things on culture. We've done a webinar on culture that's actually in our resource library. So we have a lot of tools when it comes to that. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining me these last 3 weeks, Sindye, and bringing culture into the forefront. If you have a toxic work culture, you've got to get that fixed right away, for sure. So before we leave, episode 200, I'd like to tell you that tickets are on sale for our Leverage Financial Conference in Jamaica, or did I say Jamaica? in Riviera Maya, Mexico. I got Jamaica on the brain. We were to Jamaica the last 2 years. So Riviera Maya, Mexico, September 29th to October 2nd. We'd love to have you there. Tax deductible vacation. Go to our website at childcaregenius.com under the conference tab, under the Leverage Financial Conference for more information. We would love to have you there. You'll see Sindye speak there. She's probably going to be doing a session on how culture affects your finances, and I'll probably be doing many sessions on finances, and we will show you how to make more money, be more profitable, have fun, get a tax-deductible vacation, bond with your partner at the same time, get a little bit of sun, and have a whole lot of fun. Your school will be fine without you. We hope to see you there. So that concludes this episode. Child Care Genius Podcast, episode 200. And thank you again, Sindye Alexander, for joining me. Have a good week. We'll see you next week. Carol and I will be back next week for another episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.